Okay, everyone, what I've got here for you is a Powkiddy, that's Powkiddy, like child, x55 game system. This is definitely, potentially for children, but definitely more for the older adults like myself who remember the old days of going to the video store or taking your birthday or Christmas money and buying a video game for the Nintendo or, well, even my days, the Atari and the Commodore 64, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Game Boy, so on and so forth. Or maybe, spending some quarters at the arcade or the local pizza place that has an arcade machine, maybe the mall. Any of you people, that's what this is for. This is sort of one of the mid-range devices, maybe mid to lower in the emulation, handheld emulation space. There's a lot of videos out there, a lot of in-depth reviews that'll really get into the technical side of things. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to talk about this from the perspective of a dad, a guy who grew up in the 80s and early 90s, who just likes to have fun, enjoys games, wants to take a few minutes. I don't need to beat every game I play. I just want to play it and have some fun. Just like when you used to rent a game from the video store, maybe get a pizza or something on the weekend, as a special treat as a kid. That was how our weekends went a lot in the early 90s when I was a kid. So here we are. This is the Powkiddy x55, as you can see on the back here. Non-removable battery. Again, that's all, tech space people. They can tell you all about that stuff and exactly how to take them apart and everything like that. There's all kinds of videos on that stuff. Me, it's a 5.5 inch screen, 720 by 1280. So it looks beautiful. The resolution is much higher than you would have had on your old screens, when you were playing Nintendo and Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. So all those games are going to look crisp and beautiful, and there's all kinds of things you can do if you really want to get into it to change them and make them look even better, but that's up to you. You can add filters and make them look like old CRTs and things like that, but if you just want to get this, which is, kind of the person I'm talking to wants to get it, turn it on, start playing some games. It's excellent for, you're waiting in the car for some family at a shopping trip, or, maybe they're, at the doctor's office or something like that, or you've got to wait for your kids with a school function, or, maybe a swim meet or something, or, the kids, or, the wife or the husband or whoever you may be who has taken over the TV in the living room, and you want to spend time with them, but you don't necessarily want to be doing what they're doing. Instead of scrolling on your phone and, worrying about everything that's happening that you can't do anything about, that's out in the world, instead, have some fun. Enjoy, relax, clear your mind a little. At the same time, pay attention to something different. It'll get you to think a little better the rest of your day. And, you'll enjoy trying out the games you never could try, or maybe the old ones you used to love. A lot of videos, as I said, there's other videos out there, there's lots of them. People will comment on things to complain about. I find people look for, in those review videos, things to complain about. They'll say about the clickiness of the buttons, these back L2 and R2 buttons, maybe the volume up and volume down buttons, but I just clicked them for you. They're not that loud. It's about the same as a mouse click, as you'll hear here. Nothing special. The other buttons feel good. They feel like controllers from the old days for the most part. They have that little rubber membrane underneath that makes them feel good. But, again, you're just looking to pick up and play. You get into the games, you press A to go into a system, and that brings you forward in each system, each menu, and you press B to back out of it. If you've started a game, you press select and start, and then select and start again, and it'll bring you back out of the menu. Out into the menu, excuse me. So it's a really simple process, and there's thousands and thousands of games on here. Most of your older systems like Sega are going to have the full catalog. The bigger systems like Dreamcast are not. You can't expect awesome performance on Dreamcast, but you can expect great performance on, say, Sony PlayStation. A lot of these, Neo Geo, these arcade systems are going to work great. A lot of the arcade games are going to work really well. Nintendo 64 works really nice on this, at least I've found. there's games within systems that are harder to emulate and that these devices sometimes don't keep up with, especially these older chip-based ones, because this one's based on a slightly older chip. But a lot of times people with these devices get caught up on the idea of you want the newest, the best, and the thing that can emulate the most things, and only the newest system. Well, you forget to have fun, and, well, you probably had a Nintendo or a Super Nintendo or a Genesis or a PlayStation when you were younger. You didn't need every system out there. For those who want that, those devices exist. I myself have some of them. They're very nice. But for the people who want to play some games, have some fun, like MAME, your arcade section, you're going to find, your Pac-Mans, your Street Fighters, your Double Dragons, your X-Men, your Ninja Turtles, the things you wanted to play. You're also going to find a bunch of other things that maybe you've never heard of, like Ninja Baseball Batman, which is sort of a Ninja Turtles, Simpsons, X-Men, beat 'em up style game, but all based on baseball. That's really fun and beautiful. These types of things are on here, and this is a 256 gigabyte card that comes with this, full of games. And I've gotten this from the wonderful people at GoGameGeek.com. I highly suggest them. Their customer service is great. I'll put a link down below for a discount code. I'll get into that a little bit more in a few minutes. But know that if you buy this from them, it's, somewhere between about anywhere in the range of, about $100, maybe up to around $150. It depends, what options you end up getting, or, what type of specials are running and what kind of discount codes you have at this time. It'll come with a system called Gelos on it. This is Rocknix. They're basically the same system. Gelos stopped being developed, and Rocknix became the system when people took the code and then continued on with it. At least that's my understanding of it. So I updated to the Rocknix, which, has to do with, you take these SD cards out, and there's some guides and videos on that online, and I suggest you do that. Just know that sometimes this game card, TF2, they call these TF cards instead of micro SD cards. It's just the language. That's what they talk to them. I believe they're called trans flash cards. But anyway, know that if you do upgrade to Rocknix, the games may not show right away, but you just have to copy and paste all of the folders off of the root directory of that card. You stick it in your Windows computer, and you'll see as soon as you open the drive, all the folders with all the different game systems listed, and you just copy and paste all of them except for the folder called ROMs in lowercase letters, ROMS, and then you put them all into the ROMs folder. There was just a change between earlier Gelos and the newer Rocknix and the later Gelos systems before they stopped development, of where they've set the games and the files for all the artwork and things like that. So that's the changeover you need to do. It's a pretty simple process if you needed to do it, but that's not important. You can just pick it up as is, play it as is. It'll work fine. You may want to upgrade. There's just, little bug improvements and things like that. I'm a little more into it, so that's why I did, but you don't have to. You can pick this up and enjoy it just as is, and you will do great. Again, doing something like that to me is for the people like myself who, maybe would buy a Nintendo Switch and you want to play a game. Well, you buy the game and that's all you can play, but this has thousands of games inside. But you want to buy it, pick it up, and play it. Sure, you can make the system on your computer or Raspberry Pi or something like that, but then you have to learn things. And a lot of times when you get into this hobby, you need to learn a lot of things. And you'll ask people, maybe on a forum or something like that, and they may talk to you nicely. They may just kind of snub you because you're not part of the community already. That happens. You just need to move on and hope that someone talks to you correctly if you do want to get into the hobby. There's plenty of people who will help you. I myself have helped many people and enjoy doing so. That's why I'm making these videos for the basic beginner user. There is that barrier of getting into them, but you don't need to have the barrier if you don't want to. You could just buy it, pick it up, and play. Buttons and controls, everything works great. These sticks are sort of like what you'd get on a Nintendo Switch Lite. The gamepad feels very much like an old Nintendo gamepad. The buttons, have that rubber membrane feel, so they give that nice little sort of, I don't want to say clickiness, but that, that good press. It just feels good. Those other buttons are a little clicky, but again, I don't find it anything to be disturbing by any means. Go Game Geek, the reason I suggest them is their customer service. I've ordered off places like AliExpress and Amazon before, and Amazon, something goes wrong, it doesn't work out of the box. They may refund you, they may not. Depends which customer service rep you get. AliExpress, if it says delivered, if it's in 1,000 pieces, they tend to not care. If it says delivered, it got delivered, so that's it. It's, up to you to then send it back at maybe half the cost of the device, which, well, what's the point at that point? Go Game Geek, I feel like, I've asked them questions before. I've asked them questions about devices and specials, and they've informed me. They went out of their way to keep track of me and my orders, and if I was satisfied at the time. So that's why, I agreed to review this for them, because I think that they go above and beyond in that little bit. It's not something that seems like above and beyond from yesteryear, but nowadays it is above and beyond. It's customer service that you just don't get anymore. That someone responds to you, an actual person, within about 24 hours. They're on the other side of the world, so there is a time difference, but you email them, they'll email you overnight. I'm in the eastern United States. They email usually overnight and get right back to me and answer my questions correctly. There's not much of a language barrier to deal with or anything like that. They understand what I'm talking about as long as I've, correctly explained what I'm talking about. Just be concise and, they'll answer your questions just fine. The other thing about them, they run some great specials. I have ordered devices before and then found the specials, and the specials will sometimes be listed on certain devices that you look at on their pages, and if you scroll down in the description, you might see spend a certain amount of money, get a certain device or a certain choice of devices free. That has happened. I bought a few devices. I met the threshold with my total purchase price, and they sent me a free device for my daughter and threw in some extra face stickers and some a screen protector and a case, and what more can I ask for? A free device when I was buying devices anyway, and then you give me one and some extras for my daughter. That was great. And I was using a discount code with my other orders, so it wasn't like I was paying an extreme premium or anything. If anything, I got them at a cheap price, but they still honored their special, and that was great. And the special didn't happen to be the one that was listed on the website. I contacted them, and they actually said that the items they were giving away had changed. It has a lot to do with what they have extra stock of. So you may want to contact them and what's in their U.S. warehouses or things like that, and they'll let you know what the special is and how much you need to spend for each tier to get whatever device, and then you can choose accordingly. And, if you're buying, like, say, 2 or maybe 1 as a gift and 1 for yourself or something of these things, you usually can meet that threshold. So it's not an exorbitant threshold where you need to buy so many that you're some sort of reseller or something. And if you are a reseller, well, even better then, because you're getting more to sell at that point. But Go Game Geek, GoGameGeek.com, I should say, and just check out their devices. They have lots of different things. Excellent people, excellent customer service. So again, I'll put a code down below, a discount code you can use. Use that. I may get something from that. I really don't know. It doesn't seem like a lot. But if you do, obviously I appreciate it, but more importantly, you're going to get something you're going to like. This is, the x55 by Powkiddy in green. It's excellent. They have some other excellent devices. I highly suggest some of the Anbernic devices. The Powkiddy brand hasn't steered me wrong. I've actually liked them. Some people consider them a little cheaper. I like them. This one, some people complain about fingerprints on the back and things like that. I mean, you wipe it down. That's what they are. They're plastic devices. It feels good in the hand. It's very comfortable. and nice to hold, and has a beautiful screen. Again, as you can see, it's, looks great. It's, quite nice. If I can get into the camera here, this is, amazing stuff on here, and, tons and tons of games. I'll just pick a system here just to show you, when you go in, you'll see so many. And they have, a lot of them have the artwork here and stuff, and this is just the pre-setup version. You could, set it up yourself and do all different kinds of things, but this is the pre-setup version, and it comes like this. This is great. This device has a mini HDMI out. You could hook it to a TV and kind of use it as a controller, and play like that if you really wanted to. If you wanted a bigger screen, there's a headphone jack for headphones. A charging port, a port to connect to the computer, your micro SD card slots, the speakers there on the bottom, and then your control buttons on the top, your shoulder buttons, and then everything you've seen on the face. So again, GoGameGeek.com. I know these aren't the videos I normally do. I like these devices. This has been a hobby of mine for a long time. I've helped a lot of people. I've helped build arcades. I've helped people set things up themselves. I've helped them over email or text or in forums, in person. I enjoy it. I enjoy doing it. I always have. I'm not, going to just shill for a company I don't believe in. I'm going to talk to you the way I talk to my friends, my work associates, people I know where I live, because the way I talk to them is the way I'd want to be talked to. I want to, learn about things that maybe I have an interest in, but not necessarily know everything about them. And again, that's where I think these type devices come in great, because for, $100, $200, depending on, the type of devices you get, you have thousands of hours of fun. And that's, again, not even playing the games to completion. I'm not good at very many games. I like playing games. I always used to. I barely beaten any games when I was a kid and had a Nintendo and had about 20 games. That doesn't mean I didn't enjoy them and try playing them and try and move on in them. I wasn't the kid who got the Nintendo Power and tried for walkthroughs. I just played and had fun. And that's, what you see with these. These are great, and you can have fun with them. And there's, all kinds of things built in. Save states, which are sort of like the battery saves on games, but it's all built into the software, so you don't have to worry about them disappearing. They just are part of the game. So you can play, save it, and then just stop, and you're done. And you can pick it up 2 weeks later. We're all busier than we used to be, so why not? So, again, GoGameGeek.com. This is the Powkiddy x55 that I highly suggest. I like it. It's beautiful. It's very comfortable to hold. It's a similar form factor to a Switch Lite as far as in your hand. It weighs about the same too. It's a little thicker, but at the same time, like it feels more comfortable in my hands anyway. I have fairly large hands. But that would be my suggestion, to buy one. Don't hesitate. Use the discount code if you want down below. Obviously, who doesn't like saving money? But buy one, you have fun with it, and that's the key. Have fun. Remember the good old days. Share that with your kids. Share that with your significant other. Share that with your friends. Of course, like and subscribe if you want to. I'd appreciate it. But that's all. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for looking in, and have fun. Take care, and I'll see you next time I do another video. Okay, bye.